my very soft food. What a displeasure you make me.
Did you know what the wolf was quoting? It's a line from a Fatra double, a type of nonsense poem written by Jen Molinet, translated via Google Translate in 2002. Jean, or Jean Molinet, was born in Devra, which is now part of France. He was a poet, a composer, and a chronicler. He was a leading figure in a Burgundian school of poetry called Les Grands Rhéticieurs, who were known for their excessive use of puns. Jean passed away on August 23, 1507. Based on an earlier 13th century form called the Fatrasie, the Fatra first appeared in France in the 1320s. Fatra initially meant stuffed, but later came to mean mess. It was in use until sometime in the 16th century, but was a fairly obscure form with only 71 examples surviving. The Fatra contained 11 lines, preceded by a couplet, whose lines frame the rest of the poem, making 13 lines in total. Therefore, there is the couplet, or distich. Then the first line of the couplet is repeated, followed by 9 more lines, and then the last line of the couplet is repeated. The Fatra sometimes used an AB, AAB, AAB, BA, BAB rhyme scheme, while some may not have rhymed at all. They also did not necessarily have a set meter. They tended to be satirical and absurd, though not always, and were full of wordplay, puns, and other literary gymnastics. They often mocked courtly love. It is likely that the Fatra was a collaborative form of improvisation, with one poet supplying the opening couplet, maybe quoting from a well-known song or poem, with another poet supplying the other 11 lines. The basic form of the Fatra is also known as the Fatra simple. A Fatra double is when 2 11-line stanzas are formed, with the lines of the couplet reversed in the second stanza. The last line is a restatement of line 1 of the poem. In 1432, the poet Baudé-Haran proposed splitting Fatra into the Fatra possible, which allowed for coherent text, whereas the Fatra impossible was nonsense verse. While writing this episode, a search for an English translation of Molinet's entire poem proved fruitless, so once again we must rely on Google Translate, this translation done in 2020. My very sweet food, what displeasure do you make me? My very sweet food, you had in my fence woman full of virtues and precious clothing, but you changed pasture, and then you came back, and I spoke to you, as we do, adventure, a poorly dressed pilgrim, my only son, my genitor, what displeasure do you make me? What displeasure are you doing to me, my very sweet food? What displeasure do you make me? You don't add a wisp to my great disappointment, 17-year-old unknown, as a poor and naked stranger have been in our cure, seeing the cry, care, and cure, that for you have supported, but from my dark pain didn't remember much, my very sweet food.